And she said to me, you know, Pam, sometimes some people prefer to be the head of the mouse than the tail of a lion. And sometimes we have to be careful that we choose to remain in our little silos and not see the bigger whole that the Caribbean can be if we choose to work together and operate together and do what we know we're very good at. I think the best place you ever see it is during these music concerts. That's the truth. You see the very best of the Caribbean in our cultural industries because they don't care. They don't ask where you're from. They don't ask whether you're from St. Kitts or whether you're from Antigua or whether you're from Jamaica. They don't care. We all sound the same, frankly. Um, and when you're not living in the region, it's very clear that you're Caribbean people. And there's no separation between a Trinidad and a Jamaican and a Bajan and a Tigan. It doesn't matter because we're Caribbean people and we share a particular cultural norm and cultural space that's easily identified outside of this region. And when we learn that that is an incredible identity and brand that we can package and sell as a unified body, we would stop doing our little, what I call, twirling in our little spaces and understand that there's a whole out there that everybody looks on and sees us as. And that leads me to our education system. I think anybody who knows me knows that I have deep issues with our education system in the region. Um, I think I think for the most part it continues to be steeped in the old norms of, reading, writing, arithmetic, has not transformed itself to address the new dimensions of 21st century. Uh, we're still swatting and regurgitating. We're not teaching children to think. We're still doing common entrance, where a child does math and English on one day in 3 hours, and depending on what that child gets, then they go to a particular school. And so you typecast a child from 11 years old and tell them whether they're good or bad. We ruin whole generations of children with our education system, which has not been addressed to look at a new dynamic for integration and for growth. And it links directly to the agricultural issue. I sincerely believe that we have the issues with agriculture that we have because of how we continue mentally to approach agriculture. And we approach agriculture mentally the way we do because of our historic linkages to slavery. And so we continue to see the ground as something that we till and cut sugar cane and pick cotton and do whatever else, rather than seeing it as an incredibly dynamic, powerful source of income. And somehow we have to make that switch. Because if we're importing $4 billion per year to a region this small, it means that we have 4 billion to spend. And if we have 4 billion to spend, why aren't we spending it within the region rather than from things outside the region? But because we have a knee-jerk rejection, there are thousands of acres of land going to waste across the region. I'm from Jamaica. I see it. My family has 120 acres of land sitting there, just sitting. Nobody's doing it. Why? Because nobody wants to do the land anymore. Guyana, Belize, you name it. And it's a travesty. And so we have to find a way to re-energize the engagement in agriculture and agro-processing as a dynamic, incredible tool for refashioning our development in our identity, not in the identity of our oppressors or of our former slave masters, but in our identity. And I think that is something that we need to do and do very quickly. On the issue of the cultural and creative industries, one of the things that we did and submitted to the heads of government in February and that we will report on again next week, is the concept of a Caribbean Creative Industries Management Unit. And the idea behind that was simply this. I got tired of hearing about all the talk about cultural industries and creative industries. And, we talk a lot. We say a lot of things. We're very good. I think if we could package what we say, we'd be very rich in this region. We could package and sell it. I think we'd do very well. But the point is, we can't package it and sell it. What we can do is put in place an institutional mechanism that will allow us to track the intellectual property rights, the collection of royalties, the kind of business arrangements, the marketing and advocacy rights that would be part of an established institution that enables Caribbean cultural artists and creators to be able to gain from what they've done. Bob Marley was fifth on a list last year of the fifth top person who had earned more money in death than in life. The creative industries is the only industry that you continue to earn money long after you're dead. The Beatles, Charles Schultz from Peanuts fame, you name them. These people continue to make billions of dollars long after they're dead. And that's because of the business and legal framework that they have put in place to earn from their continued royalties in perpetuity. That's what we need to do for our creative industries. We need to put in place the business mechanisms that allow us to gain economic benefit, not just, happy largesse, but something that is tangible and that is monetary. I just wanted to end on the note that if we are serious about economic growth, then we have to put in place the enabling environment for the private sector to do what it needs to do. And we have to be willing to work together to make it happen. We don't have the size. And I think that it's important to understand that. And once we understand that, and we understand that coming together is better for all of us as a whole, then it can't be anything but good for all of us. So that's my comment.
Thank you, Mrs. Cook Hamilton, for your contribution to this very interesting subject, the Caribbean today and beyond. I hope that in all that we have done and say today, as we looked at the subject matter of the CARICOM, Overcoming Challenges, Pathway to Development, that we did this particular subject justice. I wish to thank Mr. Kendall Morgan at the CARICOM Secretariat, who enabled the streaming of this particular session, this forum, in Antigua and Barbuda live on the CARICOM blog.